Hello and welcome to your daily Google News. This is Cosmos Solutions 8, and I am joined by Jacques Wilt of DataFeedWatch. Jacques, thanks for being here.
Hey, Kazim, good to see you, and thanks for having me today.
Yeah, super excited to chat with you. Now, you've got a really intimidatingly impressive resume. You're the founder and CEO of DataFeedWatch, and you have been since 2010. Yep. And a SaaS product that has survived for 11 years. Like, I mean, that's like 1,000 years in SaaS years, right? Because most people either end up getting bought, taken out, are nullified, but y'all have stuck it out.
I did. It's fair to say though that in 2010, even before that, we started our company with a different app called Wilt. I don't know. Maybe you want to touch upon the story later, but since you bring it up, might as well. So we started even before 2010 with automated bid management for Google text ads, Google search, and it was a completely rules-based system where we gave our customers, not just retailers, but any Google search advertiser, a simple choice: do you want clicks or you want conversions? And then how much would you like to pay for a click or a conversion? And then that was it. So potentially, especially at that time, that was the golden nugget. So we built an application that actually downloaded data from the Google Ads API, changed the bids in order to optimize the campaign performance, and then shot back the bids into the Google API. And that was awesome, and it went like crazy, but not for everyone. So tiny little advertisers, the small budget, small number of clicks, large number of keywords, the statistical relevance in an area where algorithms weren't that fashionable yet wasn't always that big. And large retailers would say, "Hey, you give me two choices." We'd say, "Yeah," and say, "Man, I need bells, whistles, 10 levers, lights blinking. Don't give me two choices. That will make me feel like I don't know what I'm doing." So the high end of the market didn't work out. The low end wasn't that statistically relevant. And we did well in the midsection, and but not great. And then right at that time, Google came with something they called product listing ads. And they were like little pictures with price and everything. And we figured, okay, let's do that. And we started optimizing those, right? If you can't make it, fake it. So we told customers, we also have an automated bid management system for product listing ads, which of course, wasn't like totally automated. And we were figuring out how that would work. And we quickly found out that it was sort of doable. But man, it would only work if you could control the data of the customer, and most of them were sending like crap data, and they had no idea. And we ended up spending hours on the phone with the customer explaining that price is really a mandatory item if you want to show the price in the product listing ad. And he would go back to his web developer and he would charge like $500 in order to get the price in. And I'm like, man, this is a nightmare. If it's like this, we might as well stop, right? And we started looking around for tools. There weren't that many, and either they were like very expensive or very non-user friendly, or both. And we figured, we developers, let's hack something together. And we created like the rudimentary version of DataFeedWatch, which was something that could do a rename, adding a fixed value, and do a combine. And it took us like a couple of months to put it together. And we started using that. And we're like, wow, this is solving like 90% of all of our problems. This is actually cool. So it was like a classical pivot based on the fact that we needed something that wasn't out there, at least not the way we wanted it, and not with the price that we wanted it. And we figured, okay, let's start a second business. And the first one was called WordWatch. So hence the second one I called DataFeedWatch. And soon thereafter, so we actually launched that in 2013. So, still we survived like 8 years. And then soon after we decided, DataFeedWatch is it. And WordWatch, we sort of, phased out in the next number of years. But that's how we started DataFeedWatch. And that's how we grew from like 0 customers to what we have today. So today we're basically a global feed provider. Our core market is the US, closely followed by Western Europe, but from all other continents as well. We cater to about 15,000 stores, and we integrate with a total of like 2,000 channels. So again, primarily US and Western Europe, but you have like Google in every country and Facebook as well, but then every country has its own set of unique local channels, and that adds up to like 2,000. And so that's how we made it from 2013 to 2021, and we're still alive. We're growing fast, and we're doing well.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's fair to say that you're the premier data feed solution online. I know that there are some alternatives out there, but you're definitely well positioned, at least from my perspective. I love that story. There's something my dad used to tell me this. I don't know where it comes from, but he talks about the corridor principle. Have you ever heard about the corridor principle?
I don't think so.
I'm probably butchering it. I'm going to say this wrong, but the idea is that you're never going to get the $1 million idea until after you enter the corridor. And so, like a guy goes and starts working on an assembly line for automobiles, and then he figures out how to make a better sprocket for the automobile and then launches his business. And so for all the entrepreneurs sitting around thinking about like, how do I figure out that next thing? The answer was always just start literally anything. Go anywhere, do anything, like get a job, partner with a buddy, like figure out something. And then on your journey, you might figure out like, hey, the thing that I'm doing is actually not as attractive. But I love your story because it's the perfect example of the corridor principle. Like you had something that was working, that was already successful, but then you found out you had to build your own Band-Aid to make it work. And it was the Band-Aid that ended up being the core business, which I think it's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm still glad we did that.
Yeah, well, I bet. I'm glad you did it too, because without you, we couldn't do so much of what we do. So if you don't mind, just for anybody watching, will you describe DataFeedWatch in your words? Because I want to make sure that I might say it a little bit differently than you would say it. If you're on an elevator, what's the pitch? What is DataFeedWatch? Why do people need it?
Well, that's why I always take the stairs. I only take the elevator if there's like a lot of flights, because there is no 15-second explanation of what we do. Maybe there is for people that are already in our business. If you're an e-commerce retailer, if you're not an e-commerce retailer, give me 3 minutes. If you're an e-commerce retailer, then you know that if you want to advertise on Google, Facebook, Amazon, or any of the other 2,000 channels, you need to provide a feed. So basically an XML or a CSV with all your product data. What is the unique ID? What is the price? What is the title? What is the description? And all of that needs to go there. And obviously, every single channel has its own requirements, whether it's CSV or XML or something else, or whether it's called ID or SKU or numerical, whatever, right? So it's a lot of hassle. On top of that, your data changes every single day. Products you have out of stock, you have new products, new pricing, and what have you. So if you want to advertise on those channels, you need to provide A-class data. What we do, we download your product data from your store automatically every day or every hour, whatever you want. We give you a very easy to use tool, non-technical, that enables you to create these feeds fit for Google, for Facebook, for Amazon, for whomever, and to upload them to those channels. So this means that your feeds are always updated. They're always optimized because you optimize them. If you don't, we'll help you. But it's a self-service tool with a lot of help. And on top of that, it's not just making sure that you meet the requirements of the channel. It's also enabling you to make that feed a lot better than the original data in your store. And on top of that, once everything's up and running, we can provide you product level statistics on for every product on every channel. So the product number 536 has gotten 257 clicks, got like 12 conversions, got a ROAS of X. So it will also help you to optimize your campaign. Man,
now you've integrated.
Are we on the 99th floor yet?
We're taking a long walk. I'm going to steal that from you, by the way. I don't take the elevator. I take the stairs. you've integrated with 2,000 some odd channels. I'm curious, and Jacques, don't say anything you're not allowed to say, because I don't want to get either of us in trouble. Who's the hardest to integrate with? Like, who are the folks that you're just like, who's the pain in the ass, and who's made this easier on you in terms of all the partner channels out there?
Well, in general, channels, marketplaces that are behind an API, they just take a bit more work for us to execute. The processes are generally a bit more complex, not just for us to make the integration, but also for the retailer. So then the fashionable answer would be Google in good and bad. Google is the most difficult one because they require a lot, and they go by the mantra, "Thou shalt stick to our feed requirements, or thou shalt never advertise on Google." And that is as much annoying as it is awesome, because Google turned this industry in something that is like really professional. Before Google, you had like a gazillion channels, and they would say, "Oh, send over your feed," and then we'd have like 5 people sitting around just like renaming shit in an Excel file and then uploading it into their own system. It was a nightmare. And Google says, no. Look, we're going to do this like 1 million times a day. Sorry, 1 billion times. So these are the requirements. This is the only way we can do it. If you do not deliver the price, if you do not include the GTIN, if you do not this or that, we can't help you. And then everyone goes like, man, that sucks, but I need to advertise Google, so I'll do it. And within like a couple of years, that turned data feed management in something that was professional, organized, and that really contributes to, let's say, the financial campaign performance well-being of the retailer. So in the end, it's good.
What I was expecting you to say was Google's the biggest pain in the, and I see that on my end just because of the way that we get to function with the data. The thing that would excite me the most about talking to you, and again, don't say anything you can't say, but you have millions or tens of millions of data points, hundreds of millions, I don't know. I have to imagine you see trends, and DataFeedWatch, I mean, you'll have the ability to begin to kind of see the ebbs and flow of the market, possibly before anybody else, because you're seeing predictive indicators. So instead of, like a merchant processor is going to see what's selling, but you get to start to see like what is increasing in visibility. What trends can you share with us and our listeners that might be impactful especially for small merchants?
Well, a trend that I see in data feed management is what I would call the shift in channels. So on the one hand, you see the big channels. So, the big dogs, Google, Facebook, and Amazon. So search, social, and marketplaces. And Google took the market, right after they launched those product listing ads in 2012. And they're still the top dog, but you can see, that Facebook is growing like crazy, have been for the last number of years, continue to grow as a favorite channel. And Amazon is definitely the runner-up. Obviously, I think they may even get more product searches even today than Google, but also in terms of a channel that retailers consciously choose for, you can see the growth. So the big dogs are taking the market. So does that mean that the little dogs are being killed? No. So you see the big guys being offset by smaller channels. So on the one hand, I think that there's channels like affiliate networks or remarketing networks, not Facebook, because Facebook is already Facebook, right? But like Criteo, they are very good, not alternatives, but additions to search, social, and marketplaces. So there's one thing that I see, and I don't think you see like comparison shopping engines, those are like slowly but steadily disappearing. But for affiliates and for remarketing channels, there is still a place. And then on a much smaller level, you see niche channels. So right now, just to give you a few examples, we have Pix and Wine Searcher. Those are websites or marketplaces for wine only. Sure, they can advertise in Google, on Facebook, on Amazon, or just list their stuff on Amazon. but there is a niche for retailers that sell only wine. And same goes for ammo seek and gun watcher or slick guns. Those are channels, those are 3 of the 2,000 channels that we cater to, that all sell guns or ammo. Kids apparel, findgifts.com, there are very niche channels that if they match your products, or some of your product types, I think it's definitely worthwhile to go there as well. So that's a trend I see. Big goes bigger, but small guys move in a niche.
Yeah, and I think the ability for the niches to capture market share is going to increase with the privacy first ecosystem, because they can provide content that's of a significant value to a smaller group of people at a scale that larger organizations aren't going to be able to provide. So that niche exposure could end up getting more and more prolific as privacy first kind of blinds the larger advertisers. That's really good advice. Follow the niche networks, don't ignore them.
Yeah. And in general, now, first of all, it's nice to see that if the big dogs take the market, that, they're not wiping everything out. It's not a winner takes all. There's still, I think we should just all be happy for the fact that there's also a place for smaller companies, right, in general. And then, for your customers and for my customers, guys, by all means, advertise on Google and Facebook if it matches your product portfolio. Just don't stick to it. Look for other type of channels as well, because the fact that they exist shows you that there's a bigger audience out there for you to drive traffic from and to sell to. And it's as simple as checking out other channels and see, what kind of product are they selling? They're selling, my product category, so I might as well try it out. And don't be shy, don't be intimidated by I don't know this channel and now I need to find out how it works and whatever. First of all, they can call you guys for help if they need it. Second of all, look, if you manage to get your ads out on Google and on Facebook, then a comparison shopping engine for wine, for guns, for kids clothing, for whatever, you can handle as well. It's not going to be that difficult. And a feed tool like DataFeedWatch, will make it super simple for you to get your products out there as well.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about DataFeedWatch. I've been using it for half a decade plus. We're a fan, obviously, but I know for a fact that in a lot of ways, my team's only scratching the surface. Like I have a feeling that there's depths that we just haven't dove into. Dove into? I don't know the word. What are the best kept secrets as far as you're concerned? Like, what are the features that you wish people took advantage of more?
Yeah, well, that's a very good question, because unfortunately, we have secrets, and that's not because we keep them, but a lot of people are just happy to just create a feed, send it out, and that's it, and they don't go any deeper. Also, our tool is growing and growing, and there's more and more functionality, and it's not always that easy to communicate with customers and explain new functionality. So anyway, in addition to the regular data feed optimization, there's a couple of things. So for example, we have DataFeedWatch text ads. That's feed-driven text ad campaigns. So first of all, lots of retailers, they're like, hey, I'm on Google Shopping, so I'm cool, I'm done. And I don't need to bother with this text ad stuff anymore, because it's more complicated, keywords and shit. So, but anyway, if you run a shopper campaign and a text ad campaign at the same time, you're dominating the SERP, and visitors are 90% more likely to click to your site if you have both of them. So it really pays off to have it. To have a search campaign in addition to your shopper campaign. And of course, now there's this tiny little problem of having to create this campaign and update it, which needs to be done manually. And so I get it. And that's why we have DataFeedWatch text ads. So you create a data feed, much like you do for Google Shopping, but now for Google Search. It's similar, but it's not the same. And then we download that feed every day. And from that feed, you create ad groups with text ads and with keywords of the data in your feed. So it's generated automatically. That means like, the campaign creation is easier because it's automated. You're making more money because, for example, it doesn't include any out of stock products, right? Because you made a rule to exclude out of stock products from that feed that you're using for the text ads. And then lastly, this is actually part I like best, because it's automated. You can have every single product can have its own set of keywords, its own several text ads in its own ad group. You can, if you're like 10,000 products, there's no way you're going to do that manually in Google Ads, right? So if it's automated, it's done automatically. And then, the keywords are derived from that awesome title that you created automatically. The actual text ads is like, you're dragging your title field from your data feed into the box for headline 1. And then you type for only, and you drag the field for price into headline 2. And that's how you create like a single format for all of your products. Still, every ad is unique because it's data from the feed. And so it's faster, it's like way more profitable. And it's not a kept secret, but it is a hidden gem that more and more of our customers hear about and start using. So that's really like a bigger item, like an additional service that not all of our customers are aware of, and that we firmly believe in. There's also like smaller stuff, like a lot of people that are using a tool extensively have not seen our preview functionality. So if you like mouse over a rule, there's this little eye, like the eye icon, and if you click it, you will instantly get an example of what the outcome of your rule is. So it's not like you're creating, let's say you're creating a title by combining several items, and then it's not like you need to save and then you need to check out what actually happened. The feeds need to be generated for us. No, you click it and you instantly see like 5 examples of what this rule actually generates. So it doesn't change your life; it just makes your life a lot easier, and you have like instant feedback whether you do well or not. So that's like a tiny little example that is so small that sometimes you can't even see it, but it's there, and I use it all the time. Because believe it or not, but I'm a bulk user of my own tool. Let me tell you something else. This is actually a term that we coined: associated variance. So what is it? So let's say you sell sneakers. You sell Adidas Stan Smith tennis shoes, right? And it comes in 8 sizes. And then at some point, because you're doing well, 4 of those 8 sizes are sold out. So now let's just take a step back. So there's this one type of white Stan Smith tennis shoes, and it comes in 8 variants, right? The sizes are variants. So if half the sizes are sold out, you should actually start advertising the other 4 sizes that you still have. Because if you don't, Google still says, hey, there's a Stan Smith tennis shoe here. I'll just show the ad. People will continue to click it, only to find out, in half of the cases that you don't have their size. So you just tossed like $50 into the water because this click does not convert. What's even worse, your customer is going to say, oh man, what a morons. I clicked the ad and then they don't have my size. There's something as a consumer we all have experienced, right?
Right.
So you annoy people. And that's even worse because they will remember your brand. The store sucks. I'm not buying there anymore. Anyway, so in DataFeedWatch, you can create a rule to exclude all variants of a parent product if X% or a certain size of that product is sold out. And this is functionality we developed specifically at request of large apparel retailers. that came to us and say, look, we just have a lot of products with a lower conversion potential because several sizes are already sold out. I'd rather spend my money on products that have the full conversion potential. Whatever, if that Stan Smith tennis shoe is sold out, it will be restocked the next day, and we'll start again. But at least today, my money needs to go to full potential products. So yeah, that was a big development because you need a lot of, let's say, processing power to calculate what percentage per product is sold out. But it works. It works very well, and it's very powerful and profitable.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I can't begin to tell you how many clients we have right now that I want to go and talk to my team and make sure, hey, do we have this in place? And if not, we need to use it. Google's going to prioritize from a visibility perspective what it knows it can sell the fastest, but you're right, it doesn't care about the subvariants. And that could be a semi-catastrophic error, especially for advertisers with smaller spends.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You want some more tips? You want to move on?
I want to know. Let's take all the tips. That sounds great. Yeah, I love that you got them.
Okay, so for many years, for example, when you're creating your Google Shopping fields, in DataFeedWatch you have like the mandatory fields. So we do that so that we're forcing you to map the mandatory fields. And if you don't, we won't even let you save it because we know your feed is going to be disapproved. But we also have optional fields. So you click optional field, and all the other fields are out there, and you pick them. And for many years that was it. But since 2 years ago, maybe it's longer. Things are always longer than you think. They allowed us to add custom fields. So if you want to send certain information to Google in your feed, that is not one of their 50 predefined fields. You can. So after required fields and optional fields, now there is a section custom fields. So you can add a field to your Google feed. You can name it whatever, the Kazim screw or something, and map it from whatever, and then Google will accept that. I don't think a lot of people use it, but it's there. It's not hidden, but it is a gem.
It's not hidden, but it is a gem. That might be the name of this talk here, Jacques. That's you're giving us a lot of those. It's not hidden, but it is a gem. So I want to play devil's advocate. I'm obviously a DFW believer, but one of the questions we get from clients, especially because there's a whole build out process to it, is why do I need this? Like Shopify has a feed, or my CMS has a feed. Like I've already got a feed. I've got to figure it out. Why do I need the big engine? What's the point?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that is a very good question, and one we get very often. And the answer, the key lies in the fact that there's like a data feed export and there's data feed optimization. So, as my favorite alliteration goes, the feed is the foundation of every successful campaign. Your feed, you're going to send your feed to Google. Now, let's just take to Google as an example, but it goes for every other channel. You're sending your feed to Google, and your ads are going to be based on the data in your feed. So if that data isn't spot on, isn't accurate, isn't complete, or is even missing, your ads are not going to be very optimal. Also, you want to send as much information to Google as you possibly can, because Google has those gazillion data points about the consumer that is searching for a Stan Smith tennis shoe, but they already know their size because they were logged in last time. They even know the size of their underwear. So they have all these data points, and then they need to match that with which product ad am I going to show to this consumer. So give Google as much information as you can and as optimized as possible. Then they will do the best job matching your product data from your product ad, from the product feed, with the consumer and whatever they know from the consumer. And a better match means higher quality traffic, a higher conversion rate, and what have you. So optimizing is key. If you, I'm not going to say anything bad, for example, about the Google Shopping app on Shopify. What it does is it just extracts all the data, product data from your store. It renames it to, it renames the items like title and ID or whatever to make sure that it matches the requirements that Google has. And good luck. And that's it. So the data is correct in the sense that it's the same data as in your shop, but it's not optimized. So you're completely, ignoring the fact that that optimized data is better. And I still want to say something nice about the Google Shopping app on Shopify or any other shopping cart. Our rate starts at $59 per month, and that is that's fairly affordable. But of course, the world, and especially platforms like Shopify, are filled with small retailers with a tiny advertising budget, and for them, $59 might actually be 25% of the advertising budget of that month, and they're just happy to take a free tool. So still, their data is being exported to Google, so they can advertise. They may even be willing to spend the time to go back into the store and modify individual fields manually to increase the data. So there's definitely use for it, and there's a market for it. But if you're advertising, at some scale, if you're spending a little money and you want bang for your buck, you better lay that foundation by optimizing your feed, not just exporting it. And that is the key difference between those free apps and a decent data feed optimization tool like DataFeedWatch.
That's a great answer. I have a similar response to people when they say, why do I need this? My answer is, I don't know that you do yet, but we're going to go find the use case where nobody's going to want to do this by hand. And then all of a sudden we've got this phenomenal engine for it.
Yeah. Let me give you my favorite example. It's nothing new, but it's my favorite example. So let's say you sell jeans, and then you have this product page with this one product on it, and it's called 501. Now, that totally makes sense. If I'm on your site, on the jeans site, and I can see the Levi's brand out there, and then 501 is a good title. But if you take that title, you export it to Google, and in a product ad, it just says 501, that's not good. Because if you advertise it, you want it to be Levi's 501 men's blue jeans size 32. You want to combine 7 fields, 7 pieces of data into one enriched title that probably matches the complete or most of the search query that the customer is typing into his Google window. So that's an example of, if you just export 501, Google will accept it. If you optimize the title into what I just said, 7 fields, you're just going to get so much more impressions, so a much better click-through rate, and so many more conversions. I have like 10 examples like that, but the title is the most telling example of why you should do this.
Yeah. It's interesting too, because we've noticed titles specifically, that one change, that one update done manually or through DataFeedWatch, but that is clearly one of Google's primary indicators for what it is that they present, and then maybe even how it is that people determine what it is they're going to click on, because as soon as customers optimize their titles and then hopefully their imagery, we like seeing a lot of lifestyle images, but those two things, and I've seen major impacts to e-commerce stores, no other changes applied.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, that lifestyle image is also after all, the image is like what 75% of the space of a product ad. That image better be good, and that sweater, with a guy in it or without a guy in it, that's going to make a difference already, a tremendous difference in CTR, because the image with a person in it, a product with a person in it, just like does like, I don't know, 10 times better.
Absolutely. I know you're working on some new stuff, and peel me back if we're not ready to lift the veil on it yet, but can you tell me a little bit about some of the, I know price watches coming out, some of the new functionality on the horizon?
Yeah, look, Kazim, I could tell you, but I would have to kill you. No.
I'm actually very fast. You'd have to catch me first.
No, I'd be happy to, because yeah, price watch is it's not a hidden gem, but it's our beta gem. So you can already see it and use it, but we haven't like officially launched it yet. I think if you look at campaign optimization on a very basic level, the image is important, optimizing the title is, and we have like a gazillion other things that are contributing to improving your campaign performance. But if you take a step back and look from a distance, then it's fair to say that if you're able to know the statistics on individual product level for a certain channel, they will also they'll already give you fair indication of what does well and what does not. And if you know for every product that your price is competitive or is not competitive, that will already greatly contribute to your campaign performance. Just by, you can simply say, look, I just found out, thanks to PriceWatch on DataFeedWatch, that 20% of my products is expensive compared to my competitors, or compared to the competitors that I care about. Not the B players, but the other A players. They're not just expensive, but like more than 10% more expensive. So now I have a choice. Either I go back to my store and I change my prices, I decrease my prices. But obviously that has drawbacks. Maybe I should just stop selling them, and then I can simply exclude the expensive products. Now I know which those expensive products are. I can exclude them from my feed, and I will no longer advertise. I will still advertise for the 90 or the 80% remaining products. But something like this is going to make a big difference. Just that alone. Let me stop advertising expensive products. I will still get clicks because people are checking out alternatives. But what are we going to buy in the end? The cheaper product. Especially if it's with another A player, basically. And it can even get more sophisticated. You can. This is a little quiz I do for on conference sometimes. So let's say that you have a product. I'm not putting you on the spot. This is an example. You have a product that is like more than 20% cheaper than your nearest competitors. What are you going to do? You're going to bid more, or you're going to bid less?
I'm going to bid a lot more.
Most people say, I'm going to bid more because, hey, it's a winner. But the reality probably is that you can afford to bid less. Because what is eventually the objective of Google? To satisfy the consumer, to make sure that every time they Google something, that both the ads and the organic results provide value for the consumer, so that next time he needs something, he's going to go back to Google. So if Google says, oh, I have like 10 advertisers for the product, and there's like one guy who has a price that's like 20% less, that's what you all want to see, right? So we're going to have to serve this ad to make our general audience, the Googler, happy. So they'll show it. If you bid less, they'll still show it. And you're making some of your money back, right? Because you took a hit on your gross margin by reducing your price, but at least you're earning some of that back by having a lower CPA than your competitors. And if you are aware of that, so you're aware of the 20% price difference, and you're aware of the fact that you could actually afford to bid less, then you could create custom labels for those products and actually down your bid for those very cheap products, and do something else with the other products. So you can go pretty granular with the data that you get from PriceWatch by knowing your price compared to your competitors. And that's awesome. What can I say? As we say, it is the greatest thing after sliced bread.
So Google just rolled out automated price adjustments, but they rolled it out. It's exclusive. It's a beta, of course. And right now it's only available to large retailers. And I forgot what the threshold is, but I mean, it's something significant. It's like 10,000 conversions a week or something like really high. Most smaller retailers aren't ever going to get anywhere near the threshold necessary in order to opt into that beta. I shot a video on this. It's only a week or two old. And that was my big fear is, the advertiser that has the ability to opt into this is just going to, continue to put downward pressure on the market, and smaller advertisers aren't going to be able to keep up. But something like PriceWatch puts the power back in the hand of the small advertisers, so they get to play inside of this ecosystem too. That's really cool.
Exactly. And automated price adjustments. That means that somebody is going to play around with your prices, and it's not going to be you. And that may be profitable in many ways. It's sort of it may be tricky as well. And not everyone is going to like that. Now, you're going to hand over your keys to the car to Google and say, well, why don't you guys take it for a ride? Let me know how it goes later. And with PriceWatch, at least you're in control yourself, whether you want to lower your own prices, whether you want to do something else.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. When does that roll out? When is it available, or do we know yet?
It is available today in beta, which means that there is a limit of the number of products that you can have on PriceWatch, and that we're updating several times a week. And when we roll it out, you can have as many products in there as you want, and you can update it I think even multiple times per day. But even what we have today, if you get this data for your 1,000 best-selling products, and it's updating several times a week, it's not like changes, prices changes like every 5 minutes. So it's already valuable, and it is free as long as it's in beta. Check that out.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So we'll probably launch that commercially early 22.
Okay. That's really exciting. I thought we were special because, we've been playing around with it, but it sounds like everybody's special.
No, you're special in the sense that, it's not like we have like 10,000 customers in there already. But anyway, it is not special in the sense that if your listeners, your viewers want to check it out, they can.
Very cool.
How did you like it, Kazim?
I haven't played with it myself personally. I'm going to go talk to my team and figure out, somebody in our Slack channel mentioned, because I told them I was interviewing you, and they're like, ask them about PriceWatch. And I was like, okay, let's play PriceWatch. So I'll go talk. He's one of our specialists. I'll go talk to him and see what we've done with it so far.
Cool.
Yeah. You're a local celebrity inside our Slack channel, just so you know.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Can I ask you how we're doing on time? Can I ask you one more question?
No, sure.
Okay. This is DF Dub aside. I noticed that you've been a mentor for Startup Bootcamp for 10 years. That's really cool. Can you tell me a little bit more about that mentorship program, how you got into it, and what is it you do on a regular basis?
I'm not that involved anymore today, but the Startup Bootcamp was founded by two guys that I work with, that I was friendly with, and given my experience, and given their concept, it made sense for them to ask me as a mentor as well. So basically, they're doing like you're familiar with the program, right? So people enroll into Startup Bootcamp. They basically they need to pitch, and maybe they get selected, and then they're going into this pressure cooker for like 3 months with every possible area of expertise, from financial to like business planning to like technical and what have you, to help them succeed. And in order to sustain the program like that, they just need a lot of mentors, which are people that are like entrepreneurs in general, or specialized in legal stuff or whatever. So that means that sometimes I was asked by companies that were startups that were in the program to come over and talk to them. Basically, it's an advisory role where you share your experience as a mentor, and you help new startups move forward. And it is something that is very rewarding, and it gets you a lot of energy. Because even though, as you mentioned in the beginning of the show, we've been around for like 8 years now, and that sounds very long. To me, we are still a startup, and I still feel like I'm a startup founder and all of that. And I just get very excited with anybody else who comes up with a new idea or starts a new company, and just going over for an hour and having a chat. is already very rewarding. I'm happy to share what I know. You always learn something on the side, and I think more than anything else, you just get the energy back from other entrepreneurs that are excited about something new that they're starting.
I love that. I don't know. It just stuck out to me. I think it's pretty cool that you give back in that way, and appreciate you doing that. Appreciate you doing this. Anything you want to say in closing? Any last words or any sound bites that we haven't hit on that you want to hit on?
Well, there was one other interesting question that you had on your list, and it is, so where do people go wrong?
There we go. That's a great one.
And which is basically the opposite of, so how can you go right? So I'm not going to get into the fact that people sign up and they start optimizing the feed, and then they mess up their unique product identifiers, they forget the sale price and other common areas. The bigger issues are that so people finally make it to understanding that they must optimize their tool. They sign up to DataFeedWatch, and then they create a feed for Google and for Facebook, and like, that was easy, now I'm done. But the fact is that data feed optimization is something that should be ongoing. Sure, you've created that enriched title, but why don't you A/B test it against other titles to make it even better? You put products on sale Black Friday, but probably several other times throughout the year as well. You want to create custom labels for that. So there's always work to be done. The fact is, people understand that campaign optimization is something that is ongoing, that you're always working on, or they hire guys like you to make sure that it's done properly. They don't realize that the feed and the campaign should be in the same pair of hands, and that if you're optimizing campaign, you should be optimizing your feed accordingly. Maybe not as often, but certainly very regularly. So don't say, hey, I got the tool. Yo, tech guys, take the tool and make my feed. No. The feed should be, I'm a firm, it doesn't always happen. I may even offend people that are doing the other way around, but I'm a firm believer in this. The person that is managing the campaign should be the person that's managing the feed. And if you're smart enough to get a good performance out of a Google Shopping campaign, which is not that easy. If you get that logic, then optimizing a feed with a couple of if-then rules is going to be a breeze. But at least you're making sure that the feed and the campaign are in sync, and that is how you get profitable.
That's great advice. We've had some clients that the opposite ended up being true. We're in charge of the campaign, somebody else is in charge of the feed, and we wake up and all of a sudden they've decided to just come through and make some quick changes, things that are inconsequential. And yeah, it's just like, gosh, why would you not tell us about that?
No, exactly. And it can work that the campaign guy and the feed guy are not the same. Like for example, with an agency like Solutions 8, and with somebody else in the company, with your customer. But if you guys talk, if you have like a weekly or monthly meeting, so what are we going to do next month? What is the campaign going to look like? And you sync the activities, then it will pan out as well.
Yeah, but the communication is critical. Completely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Jacques, you might be one of the most fun people in the whole wide world to talk to. I really appreciate your time today.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, this has been really awesome. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you, Kazim. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed the conversation. I appreciate you guys as an active and very smart customer. So let's continue.
Active means that we drop a lot of support tickets.
Oh, that's okay. We can't end this conversation without making that point. Because actually, I made a couple of items like hidden gems or gems in general, and we never made it to the last one. And the last one is the best and the most simple one. And you just mentioned it. It is our online chat. It is our support. I can talk for hours about everything you can do with the tool and how it works and how easy it is. But at the end of the day, everyone has a question. It could be as simple as how do I use a combine rule? But often it's like, I want to achieve something, but I don't know how. And DataFeedWatch is a service. It is not a tool. DataFeedWatch is a service because we provide you with an easy-to-use solution to achieve what you want. That's like 50% of what we do. And the other 50% is we're almost around the clock around with online chat, or email, something else, to help you with your very question. We like questions. We don't mind customers that are asking 5 questions a day, because it will enable us to help you and make your feed and therefore your campaign performance better. So no matter how great and technical the tool is, it's the people at DataFeedWatch that are going to hold your hand, help you out, ask you every questions, that are making the difference. And so don't be shy, hit that chat button as often as you want. That's what we do.
That's awesome. That's a really big deal too. I've had a boatload of software where the application can be great, but if you don't have the support on the back end, it's almost worthless to you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Jacques, if people want to hear more from you, do you do any, do you have a podcast? Do you tweet? Like where would somebody go to follow you?
Well, the first place, follow me is on, I tweet, I have Facebook, I have LinkedIn and all of that. But I would advise people to go to our blog, because we have a content department that is constantly kicking out great articles that are all focusing around how to optimize your feed, how to get more money out of your campaign, and all of that. And what we also do on a regular basis, especially for large customers and agencies, is we do what we call a knowledge session. So I just sit down on Zoom with, sometimes it could be like your entire company, and I go through possibilities within the tool that maybe you don't know about, that will help you increase the performance of your customers' campaigns. And so awesome. It can be as personal as that.
Yeah, I'm going to link to the DataFeedWatch blog in the description of this video. So if you're watching this and you want to check it out, please do. There's an immense amount of content here. It's something that I reference myself and our team references. And as Jacques mentioned, the support is top notch, second to none. If somebody wants to try out DataFeedWatch, Jacques, is there a trial? How do they?
Yeah. There's a 2-week free trial. Sometimes people ping us after 2 weeks. Oh yeah, I'm not done yet. So fine, take another week. The most important thing is just try it out. Ask for help if you need it, and when you're happy, we'll take your money. If you're not happy, we're not happy. Just take it for free for another few weeks until you are.
That should be a t-shirt. When you're happy, I'll take your money. Awesome. Go check out DataFeedWatch. We've been users for a long time. Jacques, now I realize you effectively invented data feed management as a SaaS service, right? Like, that's fair to say. There was nothing out there. You saw a need and you created it.
Pretty much so. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Good for you. Congrats on all your success, man. And thanks for your time today. Really appreciate you.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. And we'll talk soon.
Yeah, looking forward to it. If you're watching, I shoot a video every day. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give us a thumbs up. That lets YouTube know we actually know what we're doing. We shoot a video every single day. So if you want to be notified, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any input, don't hesitate to hit us up in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. We get very little human interaction. Thanks for supporting our channel, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.